at 6:30 in the morning. And you know when it's Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning, I go live on YouTube and I also go live on TikTok to talk about self-care at work every Wednesday at 6:30 in the early morning. And some people may say, why so early, Belinda? 6:30 is mighty early to go live. And it is. 6:30 is early to go live. But my point in going live so early in the morning is so that you get a chance to get some bit of knowledge that you can take with you at work. My hope is to catch you before you get to work so that when you get to work, you can immediately start to implement something you've learned from my show that morning, some type of different type of self-care that you can do. That's why I go so early in the morning to try to catch you. Maybe while you're getting ready, maybe while you're exercising, maybe while you're brushing your teeth, maybe you're scrolling on the toilet. You know, my hope is that when you watch this live every Wednesday at 6:30 about self-care at work, that you can get something to be like, I'm going to try that today. That is my hope. That is why I go early on Wednesdays. That's why I go at 6:30 in the morning. Some people maybe say, well, who are you? All right, good question. I am Belinda Harris, and I am an HR disruptor. So I've been in the human resource field for 20 years. So I've seen a lot of things as it relates to work. And one of the things that I've seen mostly that impacts us all is that we do not provide enough self-care at work. You know, a lot of us, we do self-care. We have morning routines where we may journal or meditate or grounding or cold plunges or exercise or a combination of those. We may have all those. We have morning routines at work. At home. And then in the afternoon, we may also have evening or night routines where no TV or no screens 90 minutes before we go to bed, or no TV I read 30 minutes before I go to bed, or some type of routine that you have, a morning routine, an evening routine. Very few people have a self-care at work routine. Very few people. If you ask somebody, what's your self-care at work routine? They may be like, I've never heard of that. That's right. Because despite us being at work 8 hours a day, some people 10 hours a day, some people 12 hours a day, we do not practice self-care at work, which is why I started talking about self-care at work, because I was one of those people. I was one of those people who's working a lot of hours and feeling burnt out and feeling overwhelmed. And I thought, this is not right. This can't be normal. This cannot be the rest of my life. What can I do different? And I started incorporating self-care at work. So now I am here to share the love, share the wealth, share the knowledge to maybe help someone else start practicing self-care at work. And today I am going to talk about toxic positivity versus real self-care at work. Now, how often does toxic and positivity go together? Right? Very rare does it go together, but this morning it is going to go together. So, welcome back. Thank you for joining live. If you're watching on replay on YouTube, I want to thank you for showing up for yourself today. So, I'm going to thank you for showing up for yourself today. And we're going to have a real conversation, one that you might be, nod your head as I'm talking about some of this, or maybe shake, your head a little bit like, yeah, that does make sense, because we're talking about the difference between toxic positivity versus real self-care at work. Now, if you, like me, you've heard or maybe even said once or twice or 100 times, just stay positive, people. You're at work, you just stay positive. Have you heard that? Or here's another one. Well, it could be worse. You're at work and you're working like, well, it could be worse. Have you said that? Or has someone said that to you? Or what about this? This is well, at least you have a job. Who has heard that? Who has said that to somebody else? Well, at least you have a job. I know I have said that. I'm going to raise my hand and say, I've said that. I've said that to myself. I've said that to other people. And while those comments, when I said it, were well meaning, they often left people feeling unseen or silenced or worse, dismissed. Because when you're going through something or you feel like you're going through something, that's not always what you need to hear back. Just stay positive. You're overwhelmed. Work keeps coming. The last thing you want somebody to come up to you and say is, well, just stay positive. Or it could be worse. I know this seems like a lot, but it could be worse. Or the newest one, because we see so many people have lost their jobs. And so, you think to yourself, or you hear people say, well, at least you have a job. People mean well by saying that, but it doesn't often come out as we hope. And I'm going to talk about that. That is what I mean about toxic positivity and why it can be harmful in the workplace, and how real self-care will help us deal with tough moments in a healthy, human way. So, what is toxic positivity? It's the pressure to always look on the bright side, no matter how you're actually feeling. We've heard it. Again, I've said it before. To always look on the bright side, no matter how you're actually feeling. It comes off like good vibes only. We've seen those t-shirts or notebook, good vibes only. No matter what I'm going through, good vibes only. Or just smile through it. That's a really good one. Just smile through it. It'll be okay. Or other people have it worse. When you say those things, or when you feel those things, or when you say those things, or when someone says it to me and you feel that, it ignores real emotion and can actually shame people for feeling frustrated or sad or overwhelmed or burnt out. You mean well. You mean well when you say it to somebody else, and they most likely mean well when they say it to you. But in reality, it can make you want to ignore your emotions or feel shame that you even feel that way in the first place. So instead of saying good vibes only, or just smile through it, or well, other people have it worse, try saying or feeling this. Acknowledging my emotions is not negative. It's human. Acknowledging my emotions is not negative. It's human. We have a tendency, especially women, have a tendency to push our emotions down for others. No matter how we're feeling, we still show up. We still feel obligated to show up for our family, our children, our workplace, the people we supervise, everybody. And we push our feelings down. We push our emotions down. But acknowledging my emotions is not negative. It's human. It's because you're a human being. And in the work culture, toxic positivity can show up when your managers tell you to be grateful instead of addressing burnout. When the team that ignores problems just to keep up appearances. You've seen it, the team is falling apart, right? But you can't show that we have problems. You have to still be that face. Or coworkers who don't hold space for you unless you're upbeat, right? That's how it shows up at work. And what it looks like silent suffering. It looks like emotional exhaustion and lack of trust in leadership. That's what it leads to. When you tell people that, when that happens to you at work, you suffer in silence. I mean, how many people have done that? How many people are in that now? You're emotionally exhausted because you can't do no more. And you have a lack of trust in leadership. And what you say to counter that is, it's okay not to be okay, even at work. It's okay not to be okay, even at work. Because real self care is honest. Real self care doesn't avoid hard stuff, it helps you move through it. So you're not avoiding the path altogether, you're moving through it. It's saying, I'm struggling today, I need a break. It's saying, I'm proud of myself for getting through a hard moment. It's saying, I don't have to perform positively. I just need to take care of me. Real self care at work looks like taking a real lunch break without guilt. I talk about lunch breaks all the time. It's speaking up when you're overwhelmed. It's, and hear me when I say this, it is creating space to feel, reflect, and rest. That's what self care at work looks like. Creating space to feel, reflect, and rest. Because self care is not a mood, it's a practice. And we get that confused sometimes. We think having self care is it's a mood. It is not. It's a practice. We practice self care at work every day. Hopefully, we should be. We should be practicing self care at work every single day in some form, because self care is not a mood, it's a practice. So if you're tempted to say to somebody, stay positive, instead of saying that, try saying this. That sounds really hard. Do you want to talk about it? Or, how can I support you today? And here's a better one. It's okay to feel how you're feeling. So instead of today at work, when you're at work and you have someone who may be going through something and they feel in some kind of way, instead of saying stay positive, try saying that does sound really hard. Do you want to talk about it? Or, how can I support you today? Or, it's okay to feel how you're feeling. And for yourself, because sometimes, we're there giving ourselves our own pep talk, trying to get through the moment, the day, the workplace. You can say to yourself, I don't need to fake it. I can feel it and still function. So you don't have to fake it. You don't have to fake happiness. You can still feel unhappiness or sad or frustration and still function. It's okay. You don't have to fake it till you make it. You can say rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. That's what you say to yourself today. If you feel like you're going through something and you trying to cheer yourself up, I don't need to fake it. I can still feel it and function. I can still feel upset or sad and still get my work done. Because rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. Compassion builds stronger workplaces than cheerleading ever will. And I try to talk to supervisors and managers and small business owners and say, I understand cheerleading. I do understand the part of that. And I think there is a place for cheerleading in the workplace. But compassion is what builds a stronger workplace. So if you want to create a healthier workplace today, when you go into work, if you really want to build a healthier workplace, model real self-care. Somebody may be watching. Somebody may be watching you. Let them see you take your real lunch break. Let them see you set boundaries. Let them see you do your nature walk or your 5 minutes of journaling at your desk. Let them see that. Let them see you model real self-care. And then give others permission to show up as they are. Now more than ever, people need to be their authentic self, because choosing to be authentic over being a fake positive or toxic positive or toxic positivity is not it. Everyone is a snowflake, and all snowflakes are different. And give permission for people to show up as their own individual snowflake and how they deal with things. You can do your job and protect your emotional well-being. You can do those two things at the same time. Your job, you can do your job. You can be good at your job and protect your emotional well-being. You can be a team player and have boundaries. A lot of people, we miss that because we think a team player is come on, come all. You're supposed to, whatever people dish out, you're supposed to take on your team. And that's not true. You can be a team player and have boundaries. And lastly, you can be grateful and tired. And a lot of times we are be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. And most of us are, but we're also tired. And you can be both. It doesn't have to be an either or. It can be both. Because you want to lead with empathy, not expectations. So to recap, today at work, I want you to focus on dismissing toxic positivity and let real emotions come through. For real self-care, it honors your emotions. Workplaces thrive when people feel safe to be human. And I hope today that when you go into your workplace, that you can feel human, you can feel safe. And if you do, to model that for somebody else who could be watching. Model the self-care. Model real self-care, not the fake stuff, the real self-care, your real self-care. Model giving others permission to show up as they are. Instead of saying be grateful, say I hear you, I understand. What can I do? I'm listening. How can I support you? Sometimes it's okay to feel how you're feeling. Sometimes that's all people need to hear. For yourself today, you don't need to fake it. You can still feel it and still function. Because compassion builds stronger workplaces more than cheerleading ever will. I want to thank you for watching, coming live on the show. If you're watching on replay, I want to thank you as well. Self-care at work is real. It's the only thing that's going to beat burnout. It is nothing else beats burnout other than self-care at work. I am Belinda Harris. Again, I want to thank you for coming and watching the show, or if you're watching it on replay, I want to thank you for that. I hope you have a great day today.